What can the federating states do in all of this? Well, we'll talk about fiscal federalism, and we'll try to marry it with what we see in other climes. But again, looking at the Constitution, if we really want to pad it up and say, let's do it the way it should, the presidential system, fiscal federalism coming into play, what would you want to see in the Constitution that will empower the states, and what can the states, as well as the government at the center, do?
The government at the center, for instance, should concentrate itself with what federal governments normally do, not the big size that we have. Monetary policies, external affairs, defense, so forth and so on. Then the local governments don't work, they share money. As soon as the allocation comes, they share to their party bigwigs. That's what I'm saying. The danger, that is the main thing that's keeping this country down, is this money that we're sharing. Let the states keep what they have. Not even the states, the families that have those lands, where you find those things, they should pay the taxes. And it solves the problem of stopping crude oil theft, for instance. If the owners of the land are in partnership with the oil company, who will steal the oil? All those monies that you do and the noise, the problem in Niger Delta, and then most importantly, to stop people from stealing. Already, these things wouldn't have come up if not for this injustice we are doing to these people. But now, if I am in charge, I'm working with the oil company in my area, why would anybody come and steal money or do sabotage?
Because, I mean, I think it is interesting that you're spelling it out like this, in the sense that you're not even recommending that the state government own it. Because we also remember that this debate had come up during the Yaradua
that's
era.
Replacing one problem with another.
Exactly. When they're asking for resource control, I mean, this is not the first time we've heard of it. And the president put his foot down that no, it's not going to belong to the state government either. Because it seems that the problem we're going to be running away from in the center will now be concentrated in just one area as well. So how would you say that this should work, if in ideal terms, if it's going to be practicable?
Most of those places where you have the oil wells, they're owned by families. I know I'm a Niger Delta activist, but I came here on constitutional review. I didn't come here for Niger Delta issue. But then it has come in. I can't avoid it. Most of them have families. The families, they have the land. A situation where you are even renewing leases and the announcements on radio, TV, and newspapers. The owners of the family are not even consulted. You see, injustice and corruption are Siamese twins. They work together. They're twins. Once you do, in short, if you ask the policemen, it's when the robbers are finished stealing, when they want to share and one has cheated the other, that's when the police hear their voice. Taking money from your people, you should protect your citizens, is the height of injustice. We went to Geneva when we took this matter to the World Human Rights Council. They said, we know your government is stealing from you. No, the social contract. Social contract means individuals put their pockets of power together and gave to a center called government for a commonwealth protection. You turn back and you steal from him. You put gun. You put this. It doesn't work that way. Because as you're doing it, because the money is stolen, it wasn't earned, accountability becomes a problem. Stealing comes in.
So how do we then put it in the hands of the people?
All the families that have land there, they negotiate directly with the companies working on their land. The parameters can be set, and then you pay taxes. Government comes in to create the environment. Let's look inwards. So
if you're going to be paying taxes, what amount of tax? They're going to be paying really heavy taxes.
The taxes will be determined by the authorities who are into that. I'm not an expert in that. But that is what is done everywhere. So that we can now look at our people. The money this country stands to make, if Nigeria is allowed to fly, is monumental.
Is there anything, constitutionally speaking, holding the nation down?
Yes. Fiscal federalism. When you share money around, you're killing the country, you're killing the financial system. Because the way to make money in today's world is when people work. There's some work going on in Nigeria now.
So are you saying then, I mean, that do you have faith? Because now that it has come up, will you say then, because the way the governors have asked for this is not that the communities themselves should own it. And interestingly, that's not how it has been put. I have not heard any governor say that. In fact, it seems to be saying, keep the oil where it belongs. Keep it in the south, or keep the money where it belongs, interestingly. So how how would you see this work panning out? If it finally comes up and it's up for consideration, and it comes out that, okay, maybe the South will have to keep its oil, and every other region will look for what they're going to be doing for themselves, how do you think it's going to be working out if at the end of the day it doesn't go to the communities as you have, or the families?
We can start from somewhere. Like World Transparency Group also made a recommendation Nigeria can start by 25%, 5 years. Even the Pt Commission also said so. You can give up 25% to enable the country stabilize instead of making the 100% shift at once. But you can start a gradual withdrawal.
Would you
the states too can start. The governors can. Then gradually you see these things. But let the communities that have this land have their money. Let the country work.
Do you have confidence that this the National Assembly can actually achieve this?
You see, that's why I'm saying that when you come to overhaul or making a constitution, you go for an autochthonous constitution. You don't ask people who have entrenched interest. They can't know this will fail. They won't agree because that is where also they are sourced from.
But I mean, if you say the National Assembly has entrenched interest and was supposed to be nominating a constituent assembly, as it were, to be able to look at making a new constitution, it would also mean that they too are coming with their own interests, aren't they?
No, that I'm not putting it that way. Somebody who is a National Assembly, for instance, if you say money should shift to Nigeria, that it affects their emoluments. It affects what they're going to have. And normally every human being, by nature, we try to protect our interests directly. It's going to affect them, and so forth and so on.
Well, how is it going to work if we get members, say, of a constituent assembly, and we all want to talk? Aren't we all going to be coming to the table with our own different interests as well?
We will. But it is a different ballgame when you're asking the very person who will be touched by an amendment to now preside over, the overhaul, to preside over these very principles. Let the people come and talk together, not the elected representatives. They were elected for different purpose. Let us get these people for this, because it is very important we have a working constitution.
But again, how can the people converge? You know, they thought by having their representatives, for instance, the 360 in the House of Representatives representing their constituents, that's a fair deal. They can go back to their constituents and get feedback from them, get the story or the message from them and present it. But do you think that it's possible for us to converge somewhere, everyone who's interested, and talk about this constitution? You would want us to put that phrase as we the people?
There is nothing that can stop an idea which time has come. This is history. I'm not the one saying this. The idea for that talk has come. All the tribes and all the zones will elect their representatives, not the National Assembly. With due respect to them, they're doing a fantastic job. Whenever there's a breakup in democracy, it is the legislature that suffers. They have to start learning all over again. We understand all that. But this business here, people have to pick their representatives for us to get it right. And such decisions that will be taken can go to a referendum, as done in other countries. But that constitution, the 1999 constitution has amended. We the people, we never made a constitution. You don't start a project with fraud. That in itself is fraud. It's constitutional fraud.
Why is everyone running away from that? But because this is just not the first time we're getting to see that, even though some have argued that we the people there, are you trying to say that even the soldiers at that point in time were non-Nigerians?
Now, when you say we the people, you're talking of something that's all-embracing for all Nigerians. We agreed. Those soldiers, a few people lumped it down our truth. So this is your constitution. Yes,
but what if we had voted on it? I mean, assuming now we do a constitution amendment and we put it to vote, a referendum vote as it were, would it still be okay to say it's a fraud, that it's not we the people?
No, because the people have participated. We were not given the chance. That's why I say autochthonous. A constitution is autochthonous where the people participate in it, in creating it,
you know,
and bringing about it.